YouTube has changed. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We'll go back up to chat and welcome everybody if you'd like to do that, Jody. Hello, everybody.
Okay, we have Want to Be Outdoors. We have Jason Lamb. Let's see. We got Avid. And we got me. And we got Parker sitting here. It's a busy night tonight. Stan's live and Big Mike's out there fishing. There's a lot of people out.
I didn't
351
know
Cleveland.
that,
Yep. I think even Catfish Terry's even on.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. So welcome everybody in chat.
Yeah, welcome everybody. If you don't have Parker Pursuits, you can go over to his channel, check him out, hook him up, watch a video, and hit subscribe, and let's keep him growing. Hello, Angel Hawk. And we got Littlefoot in the house.
I thought I said Want to Be Outdoors first. I'm sorry.
Yeah, his other nickname is Littlefoot. Outdoors Big Medic in the house. So, Parker, give us a little bit of history on you.
Like, as far as you guys checked out the channel, I'm a multi-species guy. I mean, I just panfish, catfish, bass, a little bit of everything, but catfish is my number one love, especially them big blue cat. And hopefully in the future I'll be doing some hunting videos on the channel too. I just got to upgrade my camera equipment a little bit, and funds are a little tight. So, but like I said, I do the multi-species thing, and I've been doing the live streams too. So it's just keep hacking away at it, you know. So.
What's your name and what's your channel name?
Jerry Parker is my name, and Parker Pursuits is the channel name. And my lovely wife actually came up with the name because she figured, well, you do everything. You hunt, you fish, you do everything. Mm-hmm. So we figured that would be a fitting name. And it's actually my family's the one pushed me into doing the whole YouTube thing. They was like, man, you need to do a fishing channel or something. And I was kind of like, what are you going to do? But then my daughters and that, they pitched in and bought me a GoPro. And my nephew, Jeremy Bay, stepped in. And, you know, he gave me a huge push to help do this thing. And he's the other half of my Parker Pursuits team. And he just huge, massive help. The editing, promoting everything. And it's just living a dream, you know. So
we have 351 in here. We have your friend Jeremy Bay that just stepped in chat, hooks and hammocks, and he loves chicken most. And everybody in the community, let's we have a PayPal link pinned up in the top of chat for Bottom Feeders Outdoors. He's going through some problems right now. He lost a refrigerator and some power and stuff. So he needs help with any kind of money donations that we can give him until the end of the month. So if you can, please click on his PayPal link and help him out. And let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers. Going through a rough time right now. So what about kayak fishing do you like the most?
Boy, I tell you, there's a lot of different things. One thing about kayak fishing, you can get into so many places that a normal boat or even someone on foot can't get to, like shallow water, real thick, rough areas. Mm-hmm. And being in a kayak when a big cat, like when you're drifting for cat and a big cat hits, I mean, there's no other rush like it. I mean, you'll be sitting there and that kayak just rolls over on a big takedown. But just that is seclusion. Like I said, I can get in the stretch of the creek that nobody else can get into. You know, I can just put in one bridge, float down to another. And it's just a wildlife and just accessibility. anywhere you go. I even do some deer hunting out of the kayak. You know, I can get to a lot of spots where people can't get to. So it's just, that's probably one of the biggest thing right there.
You
To me,
bank
I'd
fish
say-
also, right? You're bank
what?
fishing also, right?
I couldn't hear you, Jody.
You're fishing from the bank also, right?
Yes, yes. I do a lot of, especially river fishing. I'm off the banks. And like I'm saying, I do multi-species. I do a lot of wade fishing, bank fishing, lakes. I fish everywhere. But I did more bank fishing this year than I have in a long time because I had some back issues and stuff kind of kept me out of the kayak. But I'm good to go. And and Josh Duncan has Ava's in the tournament this weekend, and Miss Jody, Tattoo Cat. So I'll actually be back in the kayak if the weather cooperates. So it's gonna be a good time. So a lot of strategy involved because when Josh posted that out, said you gotta start small, and each fish has to progressively get bigger. And someone had said, chat, the only tournament where you can catch 40-pound fish right out the gate, and it could bite you in the rear, because of the numbers tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the only thing you have to worry about on the Kaskaskia River, because you never know what size of cat you're going to catch first.
oh, absolutely, you're absolutely right. So
Because that Kaskaskia is a breeding river.
well, it's just like the lake I'm fishing, the Baldwin Lake Saturday. The Kaskaskia feeds it. That's how it gets its water supply. So it's just a great multi-species lake as well. So
We got Small Town in here. We got Stonefly. We got Betty. Hello, Betty. Welcome.
hey,
And if anybody any of my mods could share out Parker Pursuits channel link, and if you have any questions, please post them in chat, and we'll get them asked. Now, which one of the three the species of cats would you like catching more? Channels, flatheads, or blues?
well, I'll save for the fight. I love channel cats for the fight, and I target blue cats a lot because that's what I have. But I'll tell you what, my favorite is flathead. The big flatheads are just the color variation, and the big flat they're all over the charts. I mean, they're green, yellows, browns, and they're a big flash of solitary fish. So it's kind of like Coast Island is like hunting for a big buck because you're trying to target that one big fish in a hole. A lot of times you're fishing a creek, and you'll know pretty quick if you're catching a little dink channel cat stuff. Chances are that big boy ain't home, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just that and a big flat like that rough cover, and it's a challenge trying to get them out of there. So, and I'd say we got another couple weeks. We'll have a decent flathead bite, but as that temperature drops, it's gonna.
I would say
down.
maybe
Huh?
first or second week of November is what we got until flatheads.
Yeah, like I said, well, like I believe this coming Saturday it's supposed to be in the low 40s, and then plus we're up north, all like the Mississippi anyway. That temperature's gonna be dropping, so it's about another 2-3 weeks, and the flathead bite's gonna slow down dramatically. You know.
Oh yeah. Betty says, "Ain't no fight like a channel cat. Never be a fight like a Mendota channel cat. Never, never."
Oh, that was the most insane thing I've ever. We went to Mendota, and we were catching these fish on literally just a couple foot of water. And I started off using a big bait, but they didn't want a big bait. I mean, we're talking the channel cats that were in the 20s, and we were catching these fish on just a little thumb-sized piece of sucker, and that's what they wanted. In a fight, you'd hit these things, and they would go airborne out of that shallow water. And it was just, it was wild. I'm looking forward to this coming up year.
I'm gonna have to take you up to Horseshoe Lake State Park, Parker, and let you go out on your kayak and go after some of them channels and flatheads in there.
I
They got,
work up there in the
they got
city.
the
And
big
I go by
tails and big flatheads there.
Horseshoe all the time. And I keep thinking, I'm going to throw my kayak in the truck. And heck, I'm right by it on a daily basis. But like I said, I never fished horseshoe. I fished every other lake around there, but I've yet to fish horseshoe.
We're gonna have to hook up and do it, 'cause, man. That you can get some nice sized shad out of there too with a good cast net. They got some good bluegill populations, good crappie populations, flatheads, channels, you name it.
I seen a comment in chat about how you like to catch monsters on dock demons.
Yeah, we was up in Mendota and I was goofing around. You were allowed 3 rods up there, so I was sitting in my kayak. I had my 2 cat rods out, and I had my little bitty dock demon, and I chunked the bait off the side of the boat, and big old huge northern pike smoked it, and got him in. Then we ended up catching a couple pretty nice channel cat on that dock demon. So that was fun. So
Can you tell me about your catfish rods?
So what?
What kind of catfish rods do you have?
Okay, I have the Heinz 57. I've got some Whisker Seekers. I've got the Mad Cats. I've got the Ugly Sticks. But I'll tell you right now, the Ugly Stick for the bang for your buck, whatever, you can't beat them. You pay $40 for a rod, and I've got a cover rod I've had 20 plus years. And I hauled them all over the country, knocked through brush, and they're still holding up. And but I do want to get Uncle Lou's rod, so I want to check one of them out. And I've been hearing some great things, so I think that's going to be my next rod I get. But the Mad Cats I just started using this year, and so far I absolutely love that rod. And as far as reels, for bass and panfish, I like my Lou's reels. But for catfish, it's Garcia's. I'm a diehard Garcia guy. I've got a few pins and stuff, but I love my Garcias for catfish.
Yeah. You like the Mad Cats? I'm thinking of switching over to them.
I'll tell you what, Jody. I've got the Mad Cats Orange Crush medium heavy, and it handles fish awesome. And that has got a sensitive enough tip for them cats. Even the big ones. Sometimes they won't nail it. It'd be a great flathead rod because it's got enough flex in that tip to where you can see what's going on. And you can straight crank down, haul some fish out of some heavy cover with that rod. I've been really impressed with this so far.
Okay.
Thank you, Betty, for sharing out the links. We have Mike Sampson. We have Hooks and Hammock, Brad Caudell. We have Chucky the golfer. We have Mike Irving. So, do you own Uncle Lou's rod yet?
No, I do not. So, but after seeing 2 stands battle a 200-something pound sturgeon on a medium heavy for 2 hours, and there was sometimes when he broke past that fulcrum point, I thought that rod's done. It's gonna snap, and it never did. I was like, well, that right there that impressed me. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to get one of them things. So.
Yeah.
What kind of hooks do you use?
Betty. Be safe.
I use Gamakatsus a lot, but Uncle Lou, I was on a live a while back talking about in our area, there's no decent tackle shops that carry like Dunn Sporting Goods. They used to have in Festus, Missouri, used to have a pretty good selection of fish stuff, catfish stuff, but it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. So it's been really hard to find decent circle hooks. Well, Uncle Lou, I got talking to him, and I got some 9 and 10-aught circle hooks from him, and I'll tell you what, I've been absolutely blown away with these hooks. They're super sharp, strong, and they got a bigger, like a wider gap for like big baits. You throw them big donkey baits, it's like Epic likes to say. And Jody, you would love them for a flathead. Using them for a big bait, you got plenty of gap, and I've been getting deeper hook sets in the jaw pocket than I ever have. So
I actually moved to I was using Mustad Demon, and I was using a 12-aught Gamakatsu. I bought some 10-aught Gamakatsus, and I like them pretty good, but, you know, I worry about if you get a big fish, if it's going to clear that tooth pad on the top.
Well, that's one thing, like I said, love about the Uncle Lou's, because the gap of the hook is a lot deeper than the normal circle hook is.
Yeah.
And I, big old, even when on the spawn, when the cat's got that extra meat around their jaw, it was burying it deep. I mean, so I've been really impressed with them so far.
Yeah.
Small Town, is that towards me or is that for Parker? What are our thoughts on the Cat Daddy rods?
Never used one. Have no idea. I've never used.
I have 3 Cat Daddy Cat Buster rods from Bass Pro. I've had them for 5 years, and they've landed some big cats. You seen them? The 2 11-foots.
Yep. Okay.
And they launch any weight I put on them. And you see the distance they cover.
Well, that's the problem. A lot of times, these longer rods is when you get one. A lot of folks don't pay attention to the weight rating on them. You know, you'll pick up a long rod thinking, "Oh, I can sling a 8-ounce rod," but if it's not rated for it, the rod's not going to be able to do its job, and you're not going to be able to get that bait or weight out there.
Right. But I launch distances just with a 4-ounce weight and a 5-ounce piece of bait.
Yeah, especially like the same area. You fish a lot of the same areas I do, David. Like the Mississippi. I mean, you're talking like sometimes you're chunking a 14-ounce piece of lead, then you got another 4-ounce, 5 ounces of bait on there.
Right.
I mean, you need a rod, and that's one of I like about that Mad Cats. It's rated up to 16 ounces. That medium heavy is for 16 ounces of lead. So it can handle some weight, you know.
No, it handles weight. And that's what I like about the Okuma Tundra, too. It'll launch anything you put on it.
Well, it's like Big Mike. I'm not exactly sure what that man uses, but Jiminy. I mean, he's chunking some monster baits out there in the Tennessee, and he's fishing crazy swift current. I fished down there before, right where Mike fishes. And, yeah, that current right there is no joke. And you've got to have some serious equipment, you know, to haul those fish out like he's doing it.
Oh, yeah. We got Maurice in the house, take down catfishing.
You had a couple leave. Amy and Betty, want to tell them goodbye? They had things to do.
Yeah. Amy and Betty, y'all be safe out there, and you have a good night. And everybody, if you noticed the pin up in the top of chat, that is for bottom feeders. He's going through a place in time where he needs some help financially until the end of the month. So if we can help him out, it'd be greatly appreciated, and thank you. And what type of line do you like using the most?
So, Avon?
What type of fishing line do you like using?
I'll tell you what, I've used just about everything imaginable. As far as like braid, which I don't use braid a whole lot unless I'm around woody cover. I like Pirate Pro. But for monofilament, Berkley Big Game. I mean, you literally pay $6-7 for a 300-yard spool, and that line is extremely, extremely durable, especially for your big bait casters and everything. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it for like bass equipment because it's got too much memory. But for a big spooled reel, like bait caster, that Berkley Big Game, I run 40-pound test on all my catfish rods river with a 60-pound shock leader, and I've had great luck with it. So.
Yeah, I'm trying this new braid they got out, the 12-strand braid. I forgot who makes it, but that damn it's thin. For 40-pound test, it's almost like 17 to 18-pound monofilament diameter. It's super strong, and I tell you what, you can cast a mile with it.
Yeah, for castability, I love braid, but I fish a lot of them wing dikes, and braid and rocks does not mix. It's just
No, but I'm saying this new 12-pound, 12-strand braid is something new I'm trying. I'm still on the fence with it. It
yeah.
gets weaker than a 4 and 8-strand braid does. So you use a lot of Texas rigs or 3-way rigs or Carolina rigs?
Mostly, probably about 90% of the time, I'm throwing a Carolina rig. Unless I'm in quiet water, then I'll run a Santee rig. And I do use 3-way rig if I'm in a, like, prime example, me and my father were fishing a real rocky spot yesterday, and a 3-way rig would have been the way to go because there's a lot of rocks, but most of the time I'm running a Carolina rig. So, and then, like I said, like when I'm in a kayak now, I'll run a Santee rig when I'm dragging baits most of the time.
So you like heavy current?
For blues, yes. That's one thing I try to look for. On them wing dikes, I'll get on my Navionics and try to find the channel because I want to be as closest to the main channel as possible when I'm out on a wing dike. But also access to shallow water. Because if you can find those two things, you got your shallow water, quieter water for food like forage fish, and a heavy current, usually a great spot for blues. But if I'm targeting flatheads, I'm looking for your creek mouths, cut banks, and on the leeward side of them dikes, right up against the dikes, I do real well for flatheads.
What's your opinion on fishing the seam?
What was that, Aben?
What is your opinion on fishing the seam? The seam where the current and the calm water meet.
I try so really hard to always lay a bait right on that current seam. That is an active highway right there for fish. That's one thing. I always try to get one on the inside, on the outer side, in the swift water. That's where two of my baits will always go. Like if you watch any of my lives, you'll see my rod. I always got one on that outside and one right dead on the current seam. And a lot of time, it's that rod that's on that current seam is the one that's getting hit.
LMO Homesteading, Carolina Real Screamers, outdoor with Chris Garcia, rolling with Raquel. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in chat with question marks on them so we can catch them.
There was a question about his line earlier, if he used it like clear or colored.
Well, for years I used a clear line, but I'm not getting any younger, and my eyes kind of. So I've actually switched to the high Viz Green, Berkeley Trilene, and plus the cool thing about that, if you run that stuff under a black light, oh my gosh, that stuff it just glows like crazy. And like I said, I just like it for visibility. So, once you catfish, let's be honest, and you can throw a barge rope out there with a hook on it, and they're gonna grab it. It ain't like a bass, crappie, or walleye, or trout, whether they'll spook from line. Catfish, they don't care.
Yeah. Now, what's your personal best?
Blue cat is 93 pounds.
Woo!
Flathead, oh my gosh, it's been a long time since it's in the 50s, and channel cat is 28 pounds.
Okay, very impressive.
So,
congratulations.
What about that lock and dam area that you like to fish so much to fish that for?
Cass Lock Dam, yeah, that's an excellent spot because if you look at Navionics, there's 28 foot of water around that thing, and plus you got that lock wall, all that structure, and that's it's just basically a highway for fish, and Abe was the one who got a hold of me, said you need to come down here and check it out. And that's crazy because I fished every lake and river around. I fished Cascade, but never by that lock and dam. And And the great thing about that place too, like I took my dad down there yesterday too, before we started out. It's easy access for, if you want to take the family down there. It's a great place. You got restrooms, everything right there. And then also you have the confluence of the Mississippi just down about a half mile. It's a little bit of a walk, but it's excellent.
To a mile from the Lockett Dam to the Mississippi River.
Yeah, literally like right off that sandbar point. I mean, you throw it to the left in the Cascade, you're throwing like 4 foot of water, and you throw the immediate right, there's probably 40 foot of water right there next to the bank. So.
We have Reeling Raiders that came in. We have where'd he go? I missed him.
I can't hardly see chat. I misspelled stuff a lot of times.
We have real time catfishing. John Parker can't fish with a lick.
Yep.
He tried calling me out yesterday during Chad's couples tournament.
I know. I rooted for him because you rooted for J-Dog against me.
I was rooting for both of you to win.
No.
That sounds like you're backpedaling there, Avid.
No, hey, they're both good friends, okay? I can't decide between two of them. But I know I got this Uncle Lou's rod coming in the mail. I'm thinking I might use it for a giveaway on a 1,000 sub, or I might try it out and see what I think, or I might gift it out. I don't know yet.
Well, you're getting close, David. You're getting really close to that 1,000 mark. So,
but it's a medium rod, and I wonder what an 81-pound flathead or 130-pound blue would do to that rod.
I think I'd handle it just fine. After watching, like I said, after watching 2 stands fight at 207 pounds sturgeon for 2 hours on it, I think that rod would do just fine. Yeah. Jason
and Parker, I want to take you to a different spot that is in a little town. It has motels and stuff in there if you want to stay the night and can't sleep in a motel or until the campground's open. Has a boat ramp so you can launch your kayak out of. And it's a good spot. It's where I landed that big cat. But one of these times, the 3 of us are going to have to hook up and go down there and fish that spot. It's at Google New Athens, Illinois.
I know exactly where New Athens. I've been to New Athens many times. So doing work over that way.
But you never fish it.
I actually pulled in there one day, David. I pulled in there one day, and I was going to do a live stream. I got off. I was working in the city. I already had bait, and I pulled it, and I had 0 for signal. And I didn't have any my GoPro or anything with me. So I ended up going on up the road to Baldwin. It was back in like July. And at New Athens, I've heard a lot of people talk how good fishing is there. So,
what did you think of that river when you looked at it?
I'll tell you what, it looked a lot like the Lower St. Francis that I fished before, and it's very similar. I had the mud banks and everything, but it's an outstanding fishery. I mean, little bit I've got to fish this year, I've had some really good luck on it. And plus, for the variety of fish, I mean, there's white bass, crappie, largemouth. I mean, it just got the variety.
You got muskies in there as well.
So what?
You got muskies, you got crappie, you got walleye, saugeye, largemouth bass. I mean, you got a fishery in there that you can't walk away from.
Oh no, yeah, no.
And if I'm correct, isn't the 81-pound flathead out of that river?
That I wouldn't know, David. I haven't.
I believe it is. If I remember correctly, I think Epic said the 81-pound state record flathead's out of the Kaskaskia River.
It's got a lot of woody cover and everything, cut bank that a big flathead would like. So tons of food in there. So
Yeah, if you ain't subscribed to Mo Homesteading, go over there and check her out. She has a good channel. She covers a lot of the topics from YouTube, things going down on YouTube and everything else. So it's an awesome channel. And if you like Mo, you can drop your link in chat. Hello, you legal outdoorsman. If you guys are new in here, please hit the subscribe button and bell notification and thumbs up. So, you prefer night fishing or day fishing the most?
depends on the time of the year. Like now we're getting into like late fall, winter. It's daytime. I prefer daytime. Then usually around start getting into late June on until September, it's night fishing, definitely for me. So.
Hello, fishing with Christina.
You
Sorry.
got quite a few people come in chat. Setting
Yeah,
hooks across the knives. Fishing with Christina. You got 351 Cleveland. Small Town Outdoors.
another good channel is in here is Fishing with Christina. She does a lot of freshwater and saltwater fishing and stuff. I follow her and I watch her, and she has a good channel.
Love that saltwater fishing. I don't get to do it very much, but I love saltwater fishing. We actually have a video we made back in August, and we're waiting a little bit to put it out. We had a good friend of ours that lives down in Pensacola, Florida, and we did some surf fishing for shark, and we landed a 11-foot tiger shark off the beach last summer. I mean, it was a team effort, and it's going to be a pretty good video when we get around to putting it out.
So we know you don't catch you don't keep none of the fish that you catch to eat.
Oh, I love fish. Now, if you watch like any of my crappie videos, you're going to constantly, especially if I'm in the kayak, you're going to be seeing me leaning back with them crappie. Putting them back in the
I haven't seen the crappie, but I know you don't keep it around your catfish that you eat, do you?
Oh, I love catfish. Like, I've got a creek right below my house that's full of that about 4-pound channel cat. And I'll grab a bucket of minnows and I'll take off wading that creek and I'll catch me a channel cat short out of there. But as far as eating bluegill and crappie, it's hard to beat them, And a bass, like, we got a few ponds down here that's overloaded with bass. I'll keep a few smaller bass. And as far as like in a creek, smallmouth, I bet it's been 20 years since I've caught a smallmouth bass. And flathead, it's probably been 10 years since I've kept a flathead. But channel cat, I got no problem eating small, like ball light. A good one, David. Oh my God, you want to go there and catch a mess eating size fish? You can fill a cooler up with eating size fish over there in a heartbeat. But yeah, we love fish. Like in the summer, we'll eat fish a couple times a week during the summer. So, and I'm actually like Mark, Catfish Crop, saying he needs to start stocking his freezer up with crappie. I got to get off my rear and start stocking that freezer too full of some bluegill crappie for winter.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you go down Kincaid?
Kincaid, I hit that a lot in the spring of the year, but then like Wren or crab is a really good spot. But I fish over for crappie. I fish over to Peabody a lot. There's a little lake that's hard to get to. I can get in my kayak, but it is loaded with crappie, and that's usually my go-to.
Little lake over there you're talking about.
What was that, Abel?
You're gonna have to show me that lake over there, Peabody.
Definitely.
That you're talking about.
Yep.
Because I know almost every lake out there, and
yeah,
I catch a lot of my bluegills out there for bait.
It's a hard one to get to. Like got bulrushes and up banks up and down, and there's literally one little spot you can fish it off the bank. But like I said, I'll get that kayak in there and just clean. And there's some giant bass in there too. I've never caught like any decent bluegill out there, but it's full of nice crappie and big bass. So
Yeah, me and my big rods, I'd have a field day.
so
Field day taking my lure and everything out of the trees. So, anybody have any questions in chat for Mr. Parker? While they're typing the questions, what's your favorite type of reel? Is it bait casters or spinning?
far as catfishing, bait caster all day long, and bass fishing, bait caster. So unless I'm doing something specialized like drop shotting or fishing a wacky rig, then I'll go spinning reel. Pan fishing, it's spinning reels for panfish. So
Mo Homesteading wants to know what state you're in.
Missouri, southeast Missouri.
Miss Laura the Explorer just stepped in. Solo Texas Adventure stepped in. So, what's your least expensive catfish rod that you use?
It's the ugly stick. Like I said, I bought these things, the white ugly stick catfish special. I think, like I said, I bought these things like 20 years ago. I think I might have gave $25, $30 for them. And those rods, they're like a time if they take a licking and keep on kicking. You know, I drug them through brush, rocks, everything else, and for the bang for the buck, especially if somebody getting into catfishing, check out those ugly stick catfish specials. I mean, they're just a durable rod, and they can handle some weight. And they got a light enough tip on the medium heavies for the light biting fish, and you can also get some distance out of them. So.
Sorry, I was typing a response to Tanya. He was talking about Peabody strip mines in New Athens, Illinois. You said Peabody?
Yep.
She thought you were talking about Peabody just down the road from where she lives in southwest Missouri.
Yeah, like I said, it takes me about 45 minutes, 50 minutes to get there from Missouri. And I go right by Baldwin Lake. And we also had the shooting complex, which I'm sure you're familiar with the shooting complex lake in Sparta.
Oh, yeah.
And that is an outstanding lake. It's got some big old crappie and some bass in it. You know.
Oh, by the way, Illinois trout season opened last week.
Yep. I was getting ready to say that. Cool thing about Illinois, besides rainbow trout, you can get a chance to catch golden trout. It's like a hybrid strain trout, and you can get them on Randolph County Lake. You can get them over the shooting complex. You can get them there in Peabody, and it's just. I will say one thing they do a wonderful job about stocking your lakes, but I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Illinois or that. You know.
You know that pond when you come in to Peabody on the right?
Yep.
When you first come in?
Yep.
They've been stocking that with trout for the last God knows how many years. And those trout have gotten big in there.
Well, if you go in there and
they got some massive trout in there that's almost 8, 10, 12 pounds.
Oh, I believe it. And here in Missouri, I live in Perryville, in St. Mary, but Perryville, Missouri is really close. We have a Legion Lake, and on average, they stock about 3,800 trout in there, and with a few lunker trout. And then we have in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, there's a Lake Fair you can go trout fishing in, and there's one in Farmington, Missouri. And, of course, they got the lakes up in St. Louis. And St. Louis is more of a put and take. They'll stock trout throughout the season because it gets just absolutely hammered. And the trout will get cleaned out, but they constantly restock them up in St. Louis. But they'll stock our lakes, I believe, November 1st is when they're going to stock the lakes here in Missouri. And then you can start keeping the trout February 1st. But before then, it's just catch release with artificials.
So out of all those lakes on Peabody, the strip mines, the one in the back where the boat ramp is most heavily used.
Yes. But the thing with that, you're only allowed a trolling motor in that lake, and most guys never get to the backside of that lake.
I've seen people use gas-powered motors and go back there.
Yeah, but you don't see a whole lot of guys. But I have a good friend of mine. He does really, really well on that lake. But now, even if you keep going straight and you go straight past that lake where you got the road, you got a lake on the right, you got a lake on the left. If you keep going straight, there's another lake over that hill that every time the Cascade floods, it fills up. So I guarantee you that thing's probably full of some big old flatheads and blues in there.
I have to go back there and check that out sometime. I forgot about that lake.
Yep.
Is there any bank fishing for that lake?
You better have a machete. It's gonna be. It's a bear. It's growing up, and it don't get hit very hard at all. So.
You have anything, Jody?
No, I think he's about answered everything.
So, as far as you were saying, Baldwin, now, aren't they supposed to be closing down that the power plant?
2025. They're making a push all the way across the United States trying to shut down these coal power plants, and that's how I make a lot of my living doing scaffolds, these coal plants. And there's several on the Missouri side that are scheduled the next few years to be shut down as well. And we're talking about Baldwin, though, once they shut that plant down, the whole dynamic of that lake's going to change. Because those fish, that being a coal power plant lake, it's warm year round. So you'll catch bluegill and stuff in there in the middle of winter. That'd be full of eggs. And these fish just had no set breeding season. And being warm, these fish could grow and grow and grow. But, yeah, the whole lake's going to change once that plant shuts down and it turns into, a normal lake. The patterns of the fish, everything's going to change. Because that lake, I'm going to tell you right now, it goes against everything I've ever learned about blue cat. When the weather's hot, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to hit them in deep water. Not those fish. Those fish will be in 3 to 5 foot of water. And that water be 90 degrees.
Those cats in blue, like you said, on Baldwin, they'll be in 3 to 5 feet of water year round with that power plant. But like you said, when it closes, those fish are going to have to either adapt or die.
Oh yeah, I'd say the first winter on that lake when it shut down, there would probably be a massive, massive shad kill.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a big shad kill.
So
One of the outdoors says, tell Jerry a golden trout was just caught on the Spring River. Solo Texan says, Jerry, how deep are the waters you normally fish from on the bank?
Well, like I said, it all depends on, once again, where I'm fishing. In the river, it could range anywhere from 60, 70 foot of water to 3 foot of water. Just depends on the time of the year, conditions. Like where me and my father were fishing yesterday, there probably wasn't 7, 8 foot of water out in front of it. But it's getting that time of the year, them cat are starting to come shallower again. And they're going to do that until this first big cold snap hits. They'll be in that shallow water. So it really depends on where I'm fishing. It does. And there's no magic depth, I'd say, because in the river, because I've had days I've caught them in 30 foot of water, and then go back the next day, and they'll be in 6 or 7 foot of water. And that's where I will say, if you got a cell phone, the Navionics app is a big helpful tool to see where your current channel lies and everything, and kind of take a guesswork a lot of times when you go to a new body of water. That and Google Earth is another amazing tool. You can sit there and scout out places on the river, lakes, and I found a lot of spots I never thought I could get to, but getting on Google Earth and find access roads and everything. So that's a helpful tool for you guys.
Now, you can verify the massive size of the blues in that lake.
Well, I've caught several in the 40 to 50 pound range, but the DNR said there was a gentleman last year caught one in the 80 pound range. So they're definitely there.
I caught a couple when I first started fishing that lake that's pushing 50 and 60 pounds out of that Baldwin Lake.
Yeah, because especially like in the winter, the hot water discharge, them big fish will move up in that area. Every catfish, once it gets down in the teens, every catfish in the entire lake will move up in the lake.
So the water temperature on that lake in the wintertime, what would you say it would top out at?
Well, I have been all the way up to hot water discharge where it comes out in my kayak, and usually where it's coming out, I had it on my fish finder, it was like 65 degrees when it was probably 20 degrees out. So, because it's got a long way to travel before, because when a power plant releases the water out of their discharges, the cooling tires, it is supposed to be not harmful to the fish. So they try to get it down where it's like in the 80s or whatever before, and by the time it makes that whole trip down to the main lake, like I said, it's usually in the 60s. So, but it all depends on how many units are running. Because Baldwin power plant is a 3-unit lake, but only 2 of the units run. And lately, they've only been running 1 unit. So most time in the winter, it's probably in the 50s or high 40s by the time it's coming up, which is a huge difference if the rest of the lake's in the teens, you know. So.
Oh, you can tell the difference because you can see the steam off of it.
Yep, you can tell you right where hot water.
Fog bank effect.
You can see that surface of the lake sometimes in winter. So.
Thank you, Mo Homesteading, for sharing out the links for Pontoon Jody and Parker Pursuits. Kevin Hook says, I've tested his theory often. They're the same thing. Then criminal trespassing directly into the spillway and whacked him in 15 degrees and paid a $200 fine for it. Totally worth it.
Yeah.
One of the outdoors wants to know, Jerry, where's your other half?
My other half, she's actually visiting her sister right now. So, and she this couples tournament was the first time she's ever been on camera. So she's a bit camera shy yet, but I'll eventually get her broke with that. So. But she definitely, she fished that couples tournament, and she's hooked now. She wants to fish more tournaments, so I'm looking forward to that.
Want to be outdoors, man? Rob.
Rob. Well, Rob's old. He's probably in bed, you know. He works crazy hours like I do, so I would imagine Rob's probably sat down.
You're bad. You're as bad as me. You know that, right?
Yep.
Whatever happened to Gardner? I haven't seen him on videos with you anymore.
He's actually been working in Chicago. Yeah, he's talking about Kudo Ertzfeld. We went through grade school, high school, and I mean, we hunt, fished together all over the place. But yeah, he's been out working in Chicago the last several months, and he's been wanting to get with me and do some fishing. But it's deer season right now. You won't catch that man near a body of water this time of year. He's in the wood chasing deer. Usually I am too. So.
Well, hey, he was good at catching gar that day.
Yeah, I don't care what body of water on. Cujo, he'll find the gar. He will find the gar. That's for sure.
I couldn't believe it. He was using the same baits we were casting out, not about the same distance that you were. You'd bring in a catfish, he'd bring in a gar.
Oh yeah, that's the way. That's the way it always is. Seems like when we go fishing, he's a gar magnet.
And I'm like, Parker lands a catfish. He lands a gar. He lands another gar. Parker has a takedown on a cat, and he misses it. And the gar master brings in another gar. I'm like, this ain't adding up. Oh, Matt. Matt with Want to Be Outdoors says, I find a spot where I can hunt and fish at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Night, Jason Lamb. No, that's a question. If you could find a spot where you could be fishing and hunting deer at the same time, would you do it?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely. Heck yeah, that's the best of both worlds right there. And there's enough public ground in the state of Missouri where you can do that. You can find a creek, put a kayak in, and long as you are not, you can be in a kayak or a boat, as long as your motor is not propelling you and you're sitting, you can shoot a deer in your boat or whatever kayak. So yeah, I mean, you could definitely do it. You could be float fishing, down a creek and stuff. But once again, just got to make sure you're on public ground and not floating through private ground and get yourself in trouble. So
that's one thing I like about the Kaskaskia. It has a lot of hunting grounds on one side of the river where you can fish from the bank and hunt at the same time. And
there is a app called HuntX. That's a real handy tool because when you pull it up, it will show you every piece of public ground in your area. It'll be highlighted in green, so it'll kind of help you keep you out of trouble.
That link to me, would you? And Messenger afterwards, would you?
Sure will.
Because there's a few spots on the Kaskaskia I have questions about.
Well, that's
I know I see some big bucks down there too.
Which I'm sure you're familiar with this too, David. Like here in Missouri, back when they had the earthquake years and years ago, there was actually spots on the Missouri side that are Illinois owned. And same thing on the Illinois side, there's like Wilkerson Island, it's Missouri owned.
Right.
It is not marked very clearly at all.
Mm-hmm.
Just right down here in the bottom, we have Kaskaskia Island and by St. Mary's, and it's Illinois owned. And there are several sections of the field, and there was no creek or anything dividing it. It's just chunks of ground. So that's where it pays to know. I had a friend of mine actually was hunting the private ground was Missouri, but he shot a deer and it ran across the line and died on the Illinois side. And he ended up getting a ticket from a local game warden. He said, "Hey, you're in Illinois." And he's like, "No, I'm not." He goes, "No, you're in Illinois." And they looked it up, and yeah, sure enough, there's the boundary line. So it gets confusing.
You explained to me, shot him on the Missouri side, and he came over there and died.
Yep. Which I would have figured I would have known. The game warden kind of told the gentleman, said, "Well, you should have known and not been this close." But like I said, there was no boundary sign or anything. It's just you look on a plot map and you can see in this bottom ground in McBride Bottoms here around Perryville, there's several huge chunks of ground that's actually Illinois owned. But it gets really confusing sometimes.
That's bad.
Yeah.
They need to have those. They need to have them marked better. Because if you shoot a, you have a kid in the background?
That's my granddaughter.
Okay. I'm looking around here like,
Yeah, that's my little granddaughter.
you had me looking looking at monitors and everything. I'm like, I hear kids. On this property right now, the kids can't be on unless they're 18 or over. Oh, that's what Littlefoot says. That's why he carries a Missouri and Arkansas license on him at all times when he's bow hunting.
Yeah, because your boundary waters, it can get really confusing, like fishing the Mississippi River, because you got that dividing line, and there's actually a creek on the Missouri side, that Kaskaskia Island. There is a dividing line, so you have to carry Illinois and Missouri fishing license. Like Matt is talking about fishing Arkansas, you have Missouri, Arkansas, and oh my gosh, what else is it? There's like 3 different states. And so you really got to pay attention where you're at. So.
Now, one thing about a lot of people don't know about the Missouri and Mississippi and Illinois and Missouri side is you'd be fishing the Mississippi on the banks on both sides from Illinois and Missouri, and they'll still, as long as you are on that main river, you can use your Illinois fishing license on the Missouri side and Missouri on the Illinois side, as long as you're on the main body of water, but you can't go into the backwaters.
But your possession limits will be different per state. So you
Right.
have to pay attention to each state's guidelines and rod limits, sometimes. And how you
So what is the Missouri rod limits?
Huh?
What is the Missouri rod limits?
3. 3 in the Mississippi.
3?
And most of our lakes is 3. So then, but then you guys got like Chad has like 50 rods at the back of his boat.
Yeah, he has 100. Brad Cardell wants to know if the fishing regulations are similar between Missouri and Illinois.
What was that?
Brad Cardell wants to know if the fishing regulations are similar between Missouri and Illinois.
Not really. Because I know the bass limits varies so much from lake to lake. In Illinois, in Missouri, it's a pretty standard 15-inch limit on bass in your lakes, but your creeks is 12 inches. And I know the catfish limits are quite a bit different. And so, yeah, there's quite a variance between the 2 states. So
I know you love Illinois fishing better than Missouri. Is that correct?
Well, it's just like Rob will tell you the same thing. We have to drive 2.5 hours in Missouri just to get to a decent lake. And where I live, I can cross the Illinois side and be at a dozen different lakes within an hour from my doorstep. So it's just, I spend a lot of time in Illinois for that very reason. So.
No, you did one video on creek fishing by a little spillway where you're catching bait fish, suckers, and bullhead.
That's what, okay, yeah, we have a good variety of creeks. We have the clear running Ozark streams, and we have some of the muddier creeks, and depending on what you're targeting, like the clear Ozark stream, we have some phenomenal smallmouth fishing around here. Just within less than 300 yards from my door, I have an excellent smallmouth creek, and it's full of walleye, everything else, and channel cat. And every once in a while, you do get a pretty nice flathead. And then I go a few miles down the road, I got a muddier creek that has more of your river species, your drum, your carp, your channels, flats, and even occasional blue.
Jody, Kelly is picking on you in chat. Welcome, Mike. Mike says, I fish Baldwin a few times every winter. Always have my best luck on cut shad. What do you think about that?
Well, I'll tell you what, I made a video with my nephew Jeremy, and me and Rob went over there last winter, and we were running Kentucky rigs, double rigs. And Rob had nothing but shad on, and me and my nephew had rod baited with chicken and shad on each rod. And I think we caught 15 or so fish that day. I think 2 came off the chicken. 2 came off shad, and the rest came off chicken. And when we fished the Winter Blues tournament, Dee and Chad Winter Blues tournament, oh my gosh, they were going crazy over the chicken. They just went nuts over the chicken. So
I'd still go with smaller baits instead of using chicken.
I like natural baits. Trust me, yeah. For bigger fish, yeah, all day long. I'm gonna stay with your cut carp, shad, skipjack, bluegill, bullheads for your bigger fish. But as far as numbers, grab some chicken thighs and cut them up. And yeah, you can do the Kool-Aid thing or not. I've tried both ways, and I haven't really noticed much of a difference. But as far as numbers of fish, and I hear about people catching flatheads on chicken. I've yet to catch a flathead on chicken. I've never caught a flathead on chicken, but I know a lot of guys do. I know Dieter Melhorn does. I think Roger Muskrat Adventures done it. And like I said, with it easy bait. In the dead of winter when you can't get fresh bait, grab some chicken.
Mike 7 Gold says, was it the red chicken?
Yeah, I use cherry Kool-Aid when I do. And honestly, I don't think it makes a difference, the coloring. But I have noticed if you mix the cherry, it seems like it toughens the chicken up a little bit. And I use chicken thighs. It's one that's cheaper. It's a little fattier and tougher. So
you already answered Drill and Raiders. He said, do you use any mixers on the chicken?
What was that?
Reels and Raider asked if you used any mixtures on the chicken.
Yeah, like I said, I'll use the cherry Kool-Aid. But like I said, I've tried it both ways, and I really haven't noticed a difference, either way. So, but like I said, it's a cheap, easy, effective bait. If you can't get fresh bait. So.
What was your opinion on the meet and greet last year when you went there?
Where at?
The meet and greet at Red Lake.
Oh, it was great, man. It was just a great bunch of people, and like we did the whole thing in Mendota. Just as far as Catfish family, from everybody I've met so far, what you see on the screen is what you're getting in real life. Just the most real, down-to-earth people you ever meet. And the meet and greets are just a great way for everybody to network, reach out, and it's just case in point right here. Dee and Chad do these charity tournaments, helping everybody out. And I'm like, you guys just Dee messaged me about bottom feeders, and we have a group chat going. And you're already in it, So I just talked to you. You were already on top of it, helping the catfish community out, family out. It's amazing. It's an amazing group of people.
Now, the kicker to that meet and greet was a kids tournament.
Yeah,
and you put me on a silver cat during the kids tournament.
Yeah, I was sitting off to the side, trying to keep my own little space, do a little fishing, let the kids go over fishing. Yeah, and I was pulling a Jane Dockery. I was wearing a silver cat out.
Yeah, but believe it or not, 20 minutes before you got there, there was a lady and her boyfriend that was there pulling out crappie left and right.
That's what you were saying. So
the same spot. And you go over there with jigs and pulling out silver cats like this.
Yeah.
I think I got that on video too.
Mm-hmm. I think you do. So
In the kids tournament video. Now, that was a good time.
it was. I'm gonna try to get it. You do it again this year. I'm gonna try to get over there earlier because like I had work.
I'm going to do it again, but I want to get more kids out there and get some vets out there to where we can spend time fishing with the vets and having more fun with the kids too. For 4 days.
I mean, you guys do so much for the catfish community, and David, I know you've done a lot for a lot of the other channels, helping them grow and just but networking community like your trash bag challenge. That's good stuff right there. You know, keep up the good work.
Now, when I plan that next year's meet and greet, I want to get some people involved with that tournament for kids and stuff.
Well, when you do it, get a hold of me. I'll be more than happy to help you out.
Because I'd like to get you, Rob, Josh, and Christina in on that one.
I believe
get people
all
the kids up there and everything. That was fun. Just sitting back and watching these. Rob's granddaughter, was it?
Yeah, little Sophie. Boy, she was cleaning the house. She had
every fish she caught, she had a name for it.
So
she named every fish that she caught.
I think it was like a dozen she caught.
She caught 18 of them. She caught 18 bluegills, I believe. And I was amazed.
And I believe that was only her like third or fourth time fishing, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Rob had just got it. And the cool thing, like Rob, he has a video out on Mo Creeks. Miss Sophie catching her very, very first fish on a jig. She tied herself. And she tied and caught her first fish on it. That's pretty awesome. I mean, how many kids can say, oh, yeah, I got my first fish on video on a jig I tied? That's good stuff right there.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't she get a medium heavy catfish rod from Richard Ward during the tournaments too?
Yeah, she got 2 rods actually. She got the little ultralight rod and the catfish rod. Yep.
And an Uncle Lou's rod. I mean, it's basically an Uncle Lou's rod, but it was a Richard Ward rod. But
so
that's amazing. Every kid that participated got something.
That was a good deal. You made a lot of happy kids that day. Hopefully, we get a bigger turnout this coming up here.
I'm hoping so too, but I'm not going to do it an adult tournament because I want to focus it more on kids. On Wren Lake in the same area, that has a good fishery right there.
It is.
And like I said, if you have a pontoon boat, you can go out there and wipe out crappie in that little cove. You got 2 coves on both sides where it goes back into around behind us in the camps and pull out crappie, bass, whatever.
Well, David, I'm gonna probably cover short here. Like I said, I gotta get up at 3 a.m. And
catfish and crappie.
And I appreciate you so much for having me on the show and everybody watching. And
before you go,
you haven't subscribed to David yet. Again, he's almost to 1,000. So, and he does a lot of great stuff in the catfish community. And Miss Jody, I appreciate you coming in and interviewing. So, but
before you go, Parker, what would be your best advice for people in beginning to get out there and fishing, and catfishing and crappie fishing?
Well, the one thing I will tell you right now, YouTube. There is a wealth a wealth of information on YouTube, different people you can check out for capture crop, and keep it cheap. When you first start out, you don't have to go out and buy the most expensive gear out there, you know. I mean, you can go to Walmart, grab you a Zepco 33 for crappie, or a 202, or a Zepco 808, and cheap rod. Don't, like I said, just don't go crazy with equipment until you get a little better and you figure out you love the sport. Cause trust me, it'll be a pile of money as you get more advanced in it. You end up spending a ton of money on your equipment. And once again, YouTube, ask questions, and folks, check out these chat forums we do. Cause you can ask information. There's so many people that be willing to help. And like James Dockery said, you can talk to your local DNR or your conservation agent, and they will help you out, you know, on finding spots to fish, how to target certain species, you know. But most of all, just have fun with it, you know. Just take the family out and just have fun with it, you know. Enjoy yourself. So.
I do kind of think you see the back of my truck a Kaskaskia River.
Yeah, that's a 100% fishing vehicle right there. Got the PVC tackle boxes. Yeah, it looks like the back seat of my truck. It's full of the wife when she gets on it, because I've got tackle boxes and everything else, you know, from A to Z. So.
And Jody, your thoughts and opinions?
I felt I got to know you a little bit better, and I'm glad you come on the show and told your story. Told us how you fish banked and how your kayaking was, and very impressed with your personal best. I wish you luck, and glad I'll see you this Saturday during the Tacticat.
Yep, can't wait to see you guys, and the gloves will be off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Parker and Pontoon Jody this coming weekend on Saturday in the Tacticats, and it will be me, Two Stains, and I get to put a whooping on Two Stains and Jeremy Crying Cats on Sunday. And I think Alicia's going to be on Sunday too. That just got added to it. So it's going to be an all-out fun, good time.
Mm-hmm.
So go over and check out the videos and everything for the Tacticat that's going to be coming up. And all have fun, Pat Lynn, and good night, and we'll see you all next week.
Y'all have a good one.